So if you've ever wondered what it would look like if a tier 1 Valorant team with something to play for came up against a Radiant ranked lobby, well, I think we found our answer, because we're watching Sentinels versus the Guard 13-1 to the Guard on Icebox today, and we're going to just take a look at what went wrong and some of the things that Guard did well as well. I don't want to, dismiss them as this was just Sentinels playing bad, because it wasn't. The Guard also played very well, and so we're going to take a look at this game. But my oh my, what is going on? And the first thing I want to note is the team comps. And both teams are playing the same team comp, where it's kind of the normal Icebox team comp, but with Omen replacing Sage for both teams. And I thought that was a pretty interesting thing to start off with. But on the side of Sentinels as well, we have Sick here playing on the Sova. And they mentioned on the broadcast that Sick hadn't played Sova since last May, so 10 months ago at this point. And honestly, it looked like he had never picked up the character since last May. And I'm not blaming him at all for that decision, because it feels like he's been put in a situation to fail because of that, like him just all of a sudden having to play this character, which is not easy to learn and will take some time to master, most certainly. He's been put into a bad situation, and it showed with some of the decisions he made, and it began with the pistol round for Sentinels here. So let's just take a look at what's going on. So we start off with this pistol round, and the Guard aren't doing anything special whatsoever. They're just going to go with a 5-man stack towards A. They're droning in at this point as we begin the clip, but really, this is nothing special at all. And so here we go. They get the drone in. They kill the drone. They actually find the first kill. Tens finds Trent there, but Sire Player is going to be able to trade it out. Okay, so we're in a 4v4, and this is where we're going to pause the video, because here's the situation that we're in. It's, again, perfectly normal at this point, but here is Sick over here, and if actually I just quickly come to the normal mode, you can see him as well. He is about to drone from this position, whilst Tens is fighting. Now, that's just a first problem, right? That this is not what you should be doing, where one person, Tens, is out here fighting and ready to fight for his life and whatnot, and Sick is droning for him. This drone should have either come out way earlier or should be saved for a full retake. Like, this is the worst time to drone. And also, Sick's positioning of where he is droning from is terrible as well, because what's actually going to happen, we won't quite see it on this first view, but we'll see it on the replay, is Sire Player is going to come around here. Sick is in the open to where Sire Player gets a free kill on him because of that. But this drone timing, as I mentioned, is completely off, because either both these players should be fighting, or both of them should be far away from the site and waiting for their teammates to play a 4v4 retake. But, it's Sentinel, so instead what happens is Tens goes out fighting, he dies, and as I mentioned, Sire Player is able to kill Sick out in the open completely. And then as we run this forward as well, and the spike is about to be planted, Dapper's going to send out a snake bite, which is fair enough. But he slightly misses, and they get the plant anyway. And then Dapper just decides to jump down. And again, if we just think about the situation here of when Dapper decides to jump down, I just want you to watch the position of Shazam while he takes that decision. So he jumps down now. Shazam is nowhere looking close to him. He's still checking mid, making sure that there's no one there. It's classic Sentinels, just I'll jump down, go on my own. I understand that their chances of winning this round are still very slim, even if they do wait for each other. But it's basic stuff. It's so basic. And so here is the replay of that pistol, and you can see here is Sick's position just out in the open. And so Sire Player is just going to come around here and get the freest kill of his life. I mean, Sick might not be experienced on Sova, but this is like a rookie mistake. Why he can't just do this from back of screens, I don't really know. But anyway, yeah, you're going to see that Sire Player just comes around here and gets the freest kill of his life. That was just, kind of the way it went today for Sentinels. And now let's come to round number 4, where those same sort of problems are going to come up again. We're going to see a really nice execute to start off with from the Guard. Really quite cool. There goes the dart, there goes the flash. Out comes Sire Player with the updraft. He gets the first kill. Then they're also going to find the second kill on Sick. But now, really what I want to talk about here is Zoms is able to get 1 kill. And then also, Shazam is going to find this kill on Valen as well. So, they end up in a 3v3. Okay, they're in a 3v3 here. The spike has just gone down, and we've got the big flank here from Dapper. Now, what should Sentinels do in this case? Well, they should probably wait for Dapper to either, kind of get rid of this trap and come all the way back behind, or get rid of this trap fake as if he's going behind and come all the way back here. Instead, what happens is they just decide, well, let's just fight it now. Whilst we're in a 3v2, let's fight rather than wait for a 3v3. So that's exactly what they're going to do. So at this point, they should just be waiting, and they begin to, but then they can't help themselves. Zoms gets into a fight. Shazam then comes to this position Again, like Dapper is nowhere near the fight at this point, and can't be near the fight. Shazam decides to get into this position, you know, where he basically can't. His best case is he gets traded 1-for-1, but it ends up just dying anyway. And all of a sudden, Dapper is in this position, an unwinnable case. So they could have had a 3v3. They instead decide, let's not do that. Let's not fight together. Let's just do that. And if you're wondering, well, maybe they didn't have enough time. Well, look at how much time Dapper has here before the spike actually goes off, because he's able to get one kill, walk around the entire site, and then he's going to actually go and have another fight with Sireplay here and get another kill before being traded by Trent. And even then, the spike still has time left on it, enough time to where they could have got the defuse. So they had plenty of time here to wait for Dapper, but they just don't have that patience at all, and they just want to fight. And now let's come to round number 9, which is, in my opinion, by far the worst. They are in a 4v2 against 2 attacking operators at this point, and the spike is not down. This should be fairly unlosable if Sentinels play it right, but of course they will play it extremely poorly. And the first thing I want to just quickly note is you've got Zoms here and you've got Shazam here. Shazam is holding this left-hand side, Zoms is holding this right-hand side. But that's not going to stay the case, and it's not going to get communicated to Zoms that has changed. Whilst this is happening in the meantime, we also have this recon dot up here from Sick. And I mentioned that Sick might not be the most experienced Sova player, because I think that this dot is so high on the wall that you'd think that this dot has to scan this person here, that there's nothing in the way. But I think it's so high on the wall that it's not going to scan anyone at all. Again, just some inexperience there from Sick. You can actually see like it ending there, the Sova pulse is ending. And so what happens is, as we bring this back, Shazam, as I mentioned, was holding this, but Sick's going to come up to heaven and join him and drone out, and Shazam is going to decide, okay, I'm going to let the drone, you know, do its work instead, and I'm not going to hold it. But that isn't communicated to Zoms at all, and so the timing is pretty bad for them, to where if you watch Shazam here, you're going to see that he's going to instead decide to hide and not check that angle anymore, which is a fine decision in and of itself if that was communicated to Zoms as well, but it wasn't. And so what ends up happening is Zoms here, as you can see, he's not tucked in all the way to the wall. Instead, he's still out in the open holding this, believing, I would suspect, that someone else is holding this for him so he doesn't have to worry about it. So what ends up happening is he's going to die for free. Now, they're up against 2 operators at this point. So let's take a think about what you would do against 2 operators, right? You want to swing as a team. You definitely don't want to go in on your own. Well, let's take a look at what Shazam is doing here, because he's just going to swing completely on his own. And they are still in a 3v2. If they decided to wait for their teammate here to get back across, the spike still isn't down, you know, so there's no time constraint on it here. But Shazam has just gone running in wildly on his own against 2 operators. So guess what happens to him? He dies for free. And then Sig decides, well, I've seen my teammate do it, so I'll do the same. And he just runs in on his own, completely blind, not waiting for Dapper at all. I don't know why, because it seems pretty obvious that they should wait for Dapper at that instance, but they just don't. And it is so infuriating watching this, to see how they lost from a 4v2 against 2 operators and didn't even manage to get a kill. And now let's come to the very next round, which is a bit of a save, but we're going to show off some of the cool things that I think that God did here. But also we're going to show our friend Dapper here, who at this point I think was just completely molding, because he's going to, for the 3rd time in a game, just decide to push this B main. And he's going to get punished for it, because if you keep doing the same thing against a pro team, you're going to get punished for it. I know he only has a Spectre, but he has done this already twice, and so he's just going to get tagged. And they mentioned it on commentary, how many times is he going to get pushed, how many times is he going to push on B main and get punished for it. But at the same time we did get that, we also get Jonah P doing this really cool thing with an Omen ult. So he smoked off this and he Omen ulted here, and then he's coming back around here. He knows that probably someone heard him, but he also sends out a flash at this as well when he's there, and so now he's swinging off the back of that flash. He ends up winning this fight, and then he ends up TPing, and you can see the confusion that's caused here by this TP. Sick has no idea where exactly he might be, and so he's just lurking behind here, and obviously now that this door is shut, they have no idea, and as you can see, what's going to happen is Zoms is just going to walk straight into his crosshair, and he gets another free kill. And now, like, you know, this is an impossible position for Sick, because obviously there's people on this side, and now there's someone there as well, so, you know, which way do you look, right? He's just in absolute no man's land, and obviously they managed to win this round flawlessly. So now let's come to the very next round, and at this point we've got this Viper ult here on A. We're just at the start of the round, but Tens, I have no idea why he decides to do this, but as you can see, he's going to die here to Sire player with an op over the top of a Viper ult. And I don't think, having looked at the replay, and I'll show it to you at the end, I don't think he can see anything like where he's walking. And so I have no idea why he is walking there, because side player just sees the top of his head and he's going to op him with the ult. Yeah, I have no idea what Tens was doing at this point. And then we just get a nice round from the guard as we run it forward. So here you go. Tens will just die there walking out. He just sees the top of his head. And as we run this forward, the guard are going to show what a good team looks like, because we're going to get this drone down mid. One of them's going to get spotted and tagged as he destroys the drone. So they're going to wait, right? He's waiting in the middle here. They are going to re-pressure mid, but they're going to swing as a team, something that maybe Sentinels could learn from. And they get that kill. And then they know that Shazam is here. They've pinged the back of the map here. As you can see, the guard, like they had pinged where he was. So they know that he's here with the drone going in there. And what we're going to get is Jonah P doing a really nice flash here. Again, good utility usage, good timing. And Shazam just stares it down, and then we're going to end up with a flawless round again. And this honestly was an absolute domination. Again, you just got Zoms running up the stairs there, dying for free, and then also Dapper, who even has like the aim advantage here, like his crosshair is already there. He's also going to die to Jonah P. So here is the replay of Tens' death, and I think you're going to see what I see here is that Tens doesn't actually see anything, that it's just the top of his head that is visible. There it is. You can just see that it's only the top of his head. So I'm not sure that Tens can actually see back or not. But Sire Player, I mean, what he's doing in that position, I have no idea, because he's not giving any value to the team walking out there. Anyway, it's not like, you know, someone's just going to have randomly pushed past this Viper ult without, you know, any warning whatsoever. So I have no idea why he's there. But as you can see, he dies for free. And finally, let's finish with the pistol round. And there's nothing really tactical to say about this. I just want to, you know, kind of bring this up just to show that if you still are like on the hopium that, you know, the Sentinels players just need a bit more sort of cohesion, and that, you know, their players are still ultimately better than other teams. This round, I think, just goes to show that that might not really be the case anymore, because, well, as we run this forward, as I said, there's nothing really tactical about it. Basically, what's going to happen is the guard are just going to absolutely destroy them, because Shazam's going to peek here, and that shot onto Jonah P, that is the only damage that any Sentinels player will do in a pistol round, which is almost impressive in and of itself for how bad that is. But there you go. Dapper misses a shot, Sire player takes his head off, and as I said, like, you know, are Sentinels really better than these other teams' players at this point? Not really, and their team play is, you know, a lot worse than these other top teams as well. Their side player just takes Zoms' head off, and yeah, and there's Sick also dying to Valorant, and that was pretty much, you know, I mean, this game was just a complete nightmare for Sentinels, and just this was kind of the culmination of everything that has gone wrong, I think, for them. The other teams have caught up to them in terms of their gunplay, but are just so much more structured and understand, you know, what they're doing as a team like a million times better than Sentinels right now. And honestly, it's going to take some time for Sentinels to fix all of these issues, because, you know, they're so glaring and they're so prominent to how they play.